BKS1Radio.com. Join the movement.
Yeah, this your boy Baby Blue. Whoa, from Pretty Ricky, and when we ain't tipsy in the club, you already know we keep it locked to BKS Radio.
What's up? This is Latanya Live, and if you're looking for a change, keep locked on BKS1 Radio.
BKS1 Radio.
Hey, this is your girl Angie Stone. And why is it that I always keep it locked on BKS1 Radio?
BKS1 Radio. Live in the vocal booth.
Check this out, it's your boy Warren G, and I'm doing it live right now. I'm in the booth on BKS1. That's how it's going down, y'all. You better ask somebody.
Hey, what's going on? This is Melanie Fiona, and it definitely does not kill to be on Kill Me. BKS1 Radio, keep it locked. Hey now, this is your girl Lisa Ray, and whenever I want to get motivated, encouraged, I keep it real with my BKS1. What's up, y'all? This is the girl Digger. You checking out BKS1 Radio. Zone, the boom tap is back. Tell them you heard it first, baby. Look out for the new single. This ain't no little kid rap.
Welcome to BKS1Radio.com. The incredible, the talented, the extraordinary Robert Townsend.
Yes.
What's up? Hello. How you guys doing?
Great.
All right,
yourself,
bro.
sir.
Incredible, sir.
What's going on,
An
man?
honor to have you on the show with us tonight.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show. It sounds like you guys have a party, man.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for having me.
I just want to know if Robert gets tired of Hollywood shuffle quotes.
Tommy! Now, you know, the funny thing is this, man. You know, for a movie to hold up, you know, because I did that movie in 12 days and
Wow.
did it on credit cards.
Yo, what up? Yo, it's Naughty by Nature. I'm KG, a.k.a. K Boogie, word.
What up, y'all? This is Ben Rock, and you're live in the Cypher. BKS1 Radio, yo. Best kept secrets entertainment. Keep it right here.
What's up, y'all? It's your homegirl Sunshine Anderson here, and you ain't gotta lie, because of course BKS1 is the hottest radio station. I just want to say thank you to you guys, seriously, for keeping me alive, and I want to say thank you to the fans for going on this ride with me again. This is Trendy 57, and we just had a revelation on BKS1 Radio. So we want to thank you all for your support. We want to thank you for allowing us to have the airwaves today. It's an honor. We do not take it lightly. The longer we do this, the more appreciative we become. It's really something. The more awards, the more we're humbled.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kiki White, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio. Hey, who knew? Kiki White in stores right now.
That's what I'm talking about. Promote.
I know y'all be clapping over
What's
there.
up, y'all? This is your girl Faith Evans, the First Lady representing the Brick City. And if you want to know what that thing is, that's something about Faith, keep it locked right here at BKS1Radio.com, boo-boo.
Hey, look, whenever you in Jersey, though, you can come to the office
Definitely.
at BKS1Radio.com.
You'll love it here.
Trust me, we didn't have
Y'all in Jersey? Are you serious?
Yes,
no doubt. We're in Jersey.
No wonder. I knew I liked y'all.
Let's introduce again to BKS1 Radio.
Yeah.
My man, comedian, Tony.
No doubt.
What up, yo?
Good, brother.
All right, what's up, man? Everybody want to know, why does everybody hate Tony?
Wow.
Nah, that's the other brother.
Oh, my bad. I
All bad.
forgot. You the one that's always getting all the ladies, man. Getting all chicks. Smooth.
That's art imitating life. That's what you see there.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Smooth B, Notorious, Glorious, baby. The
Fire Squad, baby. We over here at BKS1 Radio, and we doing it like that from the East Coast to the West Coast, baby.
Smooth Biz
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No doubt. And real quick before we go into the next joint, fam, let me just ask you real quick. Can you say a few words about your friend and peer in the hip hop game, Guru?
Oh man, absolutely. You know what I mean? I'll have to say that Guru lives forever. You know, he lives forever in the hearts and the minds. You know what I'm saying? We just not gonna see him physically, but that dude right there, man, is one of a kind, man. You know, he will be missed. You know what I'm saying? But there'll never be another Guru. We had some amazing times together, and actually, I was blessed to have an unreleased song with him too, so I got a chance to do a joint with him.
This is Alicia Myers, and I want to thank you, Heavenly Father, for BKS1 Radio.
Can you give us and our listeners a little live? Something? No.
No, sure, I'm kidding.
I wasn't prepared for that one.
I know. I want to thank you, Heavenly Father, for shining your light on me. You sent me someone who really loves me,
okay.
Yeah. And not just my body. Cut to the chase. I know it wouldn't happen without you. Without you.
Oh, good night.
www.bks1radio.com. Join the movement. BKS1 Radio live.
Yeah, you know what it is. Welcome back.
All right, welcome everybody. It's another wonderful live, hot, action-packed, live in the vocal booth right here at BKS1 Entertainment. How's everybody doing tonight?
Spectacular.
Wait a minute. Okay, I had to pull the hydraulics. How many goods?
Oh,
you missed the hydraulics. I had to come down a little bit. Just too high.
Spectacular.
Just a little too high. So how's everybody doing? JD, how you doing down there, my friend?
I'm doing all right. It was a very interesting day today. So many things happened, but
okay.
Right.
But you here?
Yeah. Well, actually, one bad thing happened real quick. On the way to the show, Sadie and I saw someone who looked like they got hit by a car with a bike. We thought it was a kid with a bike was all turned up. And to make a long story short, it turned out to be a drunk man that was riding his bike and ran into a parked car.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was a very interesting.
Did you help him?
Well, we stopped.
That's how you found out.
That's how we found out. Yeah.
Drunk driving.
Good Samaritans.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Good deeds.
Drunk driving to the fifth power. That's definitely. Well, I guess you could probably get a ticket for that too.
Yeah, you can definitely.
Speaking of good deeds, did you see that movie yet, Chill?
I think you and Chill should go together.
I regressed. Listen, PM went today, gave me a full overall because I regressed. I can't find. I just can't. And PM went to see it today actually, and she told me all about it. And she's a TP fan, so I asked her this at home. I said, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 means super hot, 1 means it's not. What do you give it? And she gave it a 4. But she said there were some things that were disturbing even to her.
Wow,
really?
And my barber, brother Tim, he said the same thing. So I might go see it actually tomorrow, just so I can give it a review tomorrow.
You and Tanya should go see it.
Who's Tanya?
On Chill Chick Flicks. Can I ask a question?
You can't go see it.
I can't. I want to. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I want to support Tyler Perry because I think he's such a great guy. And then I was talking to Jay Boogie about it.
Who are you?
No, I love I've said this over and over again. I love Tyler Perry, the man. I can't stand his work. But the thing is, we're lacking so much when it comes to black movies and the genre that he feels as far as modern day, just everyday stories, that I'm still naturally drawn to go and see it. But I have to fight myself. I have to stand up. All right, everybody. Speaking of standing up, Actually, this is a really bad transition, but I'm just going to go with it. Speaking of standing up, we're going to take a moment to stand up and introduce ourselves. How'd I do?
I'm sitting down.
That was pretty bad. I want everybody to stand up when they introduce
there was a lot of khaki kills going on, so I
don't
stand up no
more.
Caquiles. That's a New Mexican beer for those who are not aware.
Don't drink that beer.
Don't partake. All right, everybody. We're going to take a moment to introduce ourselves as only, hospitable hosts that we are due. So we're going to start at the end. JD, take it away.
Yeah, this is JD. What the dilly be?
All right, and then we're going to go to my other friend down at the end.
Y'all know who it is. Smooth P, Ladies Love in the building. Hello.
How you get your voice to crack like that, y'all? Know who
Practice.
it is. Practice is a lot of work.
No, it's easy. It's easy for me. It's easy for me.
Okay. And then this wonderful woman to my left.
Able to be at a basketball game and a soccer game at the same time with two different children. It's Trish, a.k.a. Superwoman. What's up, y'all?
Woo, what's up? And come on, you got to keep it real. Who are you?
Well, our guest here made me feel like my name is just not appropriate, so I'll be Tyrone tonight.
What did I guess say?
I'm just joking.
I was about to say, did I miss something?
I respect it. Chill, Mister. Keep it real. You can call me Tyrone.
And I'm the one and only Amazon.com T Tatum in the building, and we want to welcome you guys to another great edition of Live in the Vocal Booth.
That's right.
All right, everybody. So this is a really exciting show. About 2 months ago, we did a show on foster care. I was not here for that show, and I heard it was a great show.
Actually, it was a little different. We talked about DIFUS.
DIFUS.
Yes,
okay.
All right. It wasn't
right.
about foster care.
Okay. Well, tonight we're going to go in and talk specifically about blacks and the foster system, as well as the adoption system right now, and how it affects blacks, as well as a few other things we'll touch upon throughout the night. But I'm going to take a moment here to read the actual. Actually, do you mind, Soups, reading? Because I have Miss Pringle's, Miss Reed's bio up. You got it?
Let's see.
All right.
Okay, the topic tonight?
The topic tonight.
All right. So according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, in 2010, there were 500,000 children in the foster care system in the United States at any given moment. 26% of them being African American. That means there are more black children in the foster care system than there are in the general U.S. population. What gives? Tonight we are going to discuss in depth the foster care and adoption system in the United States as it affects African American children. We will start from the beginning and discuss the causes of having such large numbers of our kids becoming wards of the state and the path they usually take once they're placed in the system. We'll also look at the success rate of adoption in black households and the latest trends of transracial adoptions. There are lots of highs and lows, facts and myths that will be highlighted on this discussion as we're joined by the proud foster parent who has her own testimony to share. We're here to educate you tonight as we go live in the vocal booth.
Woo! All right, everybody. Now, I want to take a moment to introduce properly our guest for tonight, Miss Verdi Pringle Reed, and she is a chaplain, author, playwright, and a licensed evangelist.
Superwoman.
Yes, she is. She's also a foster care mother. She's presently caring for a medically fragile child from the Division of Youth and Family Services, better known as DIFUS, as well as 2 mentally challenged adults. Verdi is also the founder of a nonprofit ministry called Smile Bandages Ministries, Inc., and its sole purpose is to encourage youth and seniors to develop relationships of love and trust towards one another while worshiping God together in the spirit of truth and mutual support. Mrs. Pringle Reed is also founder of Smile Bandages Troops. It's a ministry comprised of teens, preteens, and mentally challenged individuals that dance and entertain the residents of nursing facilities. Along with 3 published books, which we're going to talk a little bit about tonight as well, she has also written, produced, and directed a number of well-received stage plays, including Granny, I Want to Dance, Christmas Merriment, and A Cherub's Arrow, which were written in an encouraging style for the nursing home residents that also interact in the performances. And lastly, Verdi is a wife and mother of 4 adult children and more than a dozen grandchildren. We're going to hear tonight that she has encouraged many of her children to adopt. So we'll hear about that part of her testimony. Her and her husband, Randy, currently reside in South Plainfield, where they continue to parent 3 foster daughters. Welcome, Verdi Pringle Reed, to Live in the Vocal Booth. Welcome. All right. Welcome, Miss Reed. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Now, everybody, she's a little nervous. So, just send all your warm vibes, all your great warm vibes over to her because we a family here. And you're going to have yourselves a great time.
And you're evangelist. I mean, you got Jesus on your side. You good.
You know. And that's the end of that. All right. So, first, we're going to start off by giving you an opportunity to talk about, because you're going to hang out with us all night. So, we want to give you an opportunity to talk about smiling bandages and tell us a little bit like how it got started, what was put on your heart, and how you started putting things into motion.
Okay, I started Smile Bandages Ministry due to the fact that I also was a foster parent.
Okay.
And in fostering children, I started taking them with me to the nursing home to visit the seniors and those who reside there. I realized that the seniors love to have the children come to visit them. So thereafter, I start ministering to my grandchildren and encouraging them to start dancing. Then I took them with me to the nursing home so they could dance for the seniors.
Wow.
That was the beginning of Smile Bandages Ministry Incorporated.
Beautiful. And when did that start?
That started in 2005.
2005. Okay, so you're getting close to that 10-year mark. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Reed when I actually sang. Her and I have a mutual friend, and so my friend asked me to come and sing for their Christmas programs at the elderly home, at the nursing homes.
Okay.
And so I came in, and I had to say what was such a joy was the fact that she got even her daughter, the foster care child that she takes care of, involved in entertaining, and you can tell the residents really wanted the kids to be there, and so they came in and they were all preteens and teens, and some of them had these like sullen faces, like they didn't want to be there. But then the music started and they did praise dancing for them.
Wow,
with this time. Do they always do praise dancing?
Yes, they praise. The seniors love for them to praise dance.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, sometimes when I started, the residents in the nursing home would even tell them how to dance.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
That's nice.
And then, so it was just really a great experience of combining the two. And I remember being a kid in the Girl Scouts, and every year around Christmas time, we had to go visit, as we called it, the old folks' home, and just not wanting to be there. So to have seen it as an adult, I realized how important it was, because those seniors were looking forward to those kids. They ain't care nothing about me singing. They ain't care nothing about everything else. They just couldn't wait to see those kids, get up there. So it was really
I'm holding back.
Huh?
I'm holding back.
I was waiting on you, Soups.
Nothing to say,
They
beautiful
like
voice.
my singing, didn't they? They like my singing.
As a matter of fact, they're waiting for you to come back.
See? Say it louder. No, she's always picking on me here. But at any rate, okay, so let's talk about Smiling. What is your ultimate goal? What do you want to see with the organization?
Really to reunite the youth with the seniors, because it seems that they have gotten far away from it. As a matter of fact, I remember when I first started taking my grandchildren with me, and my grandson said, "Grandma, I don't want to go there. They're creepy."
Wow.
And so with them saying that, I wanted them to realize that the seniors are not creepy. And I used a teddy bear on the cover of my book, Loving the Unlovable. And I shared with all the children that this teddy bear is ugly. He's looked like he has most of his hairs removed off him, and he has a bandage on him. And I said to him, the seniors are like the teddy bear.
You calling seniors ugly?
Not exactly
just
ugly,
joking.
but in a way they cannot do the thing that we normally can do. So therefore, some will consider them not normal. Some will consider them, because they are disabled in many ways, that they don't fit.
Right.
And so I encourage them to show the love of Jesus, because Jesus said that we must love our neighbors as we love ourselves.
Right.
And I told them that the seniors are our neighbors too. So in going to the nursing home to visit the seniors, you're showing God that you are obeying His word by loving your neighbors as you love yourself.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I always tell kids, and I have a strong affinity toward seniors and children, but I always tell them, one day you live long enough, that might be you.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to reciprocate that love. I think that's tremendous. I just want to jump right into one thing. I wanted to make sure I say this to you over the air. I applaud you for all that you do, because it takes a special heart to do everything that you do with these children, and I wanted to make sure we get that out there first too.
I have a question real quick. When it comes to you taking your children, your foster children, to do these things for the seniors, have you found, is there a difference in the way your children versus the foster children have actually felt about this, or is it kind of similar?
It's really similar, because with the foster children, I usually take into my home. I started with them when they was very young. So therefore, caring for them, I brought them up just like I would care for my own children. So therefore, they experienced being loved already. They experienced receiving a lot of hugs. So therefore, and also because I taught them about God's love. So in doing that, it's easy to take them and for them to fit right in. As a matter of fact, the foster children that I've cared for, I've had them since they was, most of them, right out of the hospital. Wow. So therefore, after caring for them for a number of years, they fit right into my grandchildren. So much as so that I encourage my adult children to adopt them. So I have 2 grandchildren who was adopted by 2 of my daughters.
Wow, so that's really wonderful. Now, before we move into the topic tonight, I do want to focus a little bit more on smile bandages.
Smile bandages.
Please forgive me, I got that wrong. Now, what I'm really excited to hear about is how you started writing books and how you got them produced, how you got them out there.
Okay, the first book I wrote, Smile Bandages Cover Through the Pain. And in writing that book was after I had cared for a foster child for 12 years, and I had to let him go. He was mentally challenged. Wow. And therefore, when I could no longer care for him because he became aggressive and larger than I, he was doing harm to me as well as himself. Wow. So on his 12th birthday, I had to find a place for him, and it was after searching for a couple of months. And so on his 12th birthday, once he was placed in another home where they could better care for him and watch him, I got on the computer, and 3 months later, I wrote Smile Bandages Cover a Multitude of Pain. Okay. And that was therapy for me, letting go of that child. And so I talked a lot about what it felt like after you having a child from the time he was 5 months old and then turned 12 years old, and then you had to release him.
Wow.
That's
yeah.
That's deep. That is kind of deep, because like I said, that's, even though you didn't birth the child, you've had them since they were a baby, so you raised that child as your child. So I know that has to be tough. But I mean, with bringing all these children in and giving and having all this extra love to give them, what would be some encouraging words that you would tell people to go out and to adopt? Because there's a lot of people who don't have children who want children. There's some who can't bear children that want children, but they want their own. Could you speak upon that point from it being your own still, even though you're not birthing them?
Okay, the second book I wrote, Smile Bandages Loving the Unlovable. That came in place because I realized these children that I'd fostered would be considered by many as being unlovable. Exactly. And with them being unlovable, and you take a child into your home because they have issues. So therefore, ordinarily, I wouldn't have wanted a child that was handicapped or wanted a child that had these disabilities. And so I realized as I went to the nurse to DIFUS to receive a child from the hospital, the children that was left in the hospital was those who had issues, those who were sick, those who was whose parent was taking drugs, and therefore those were the children that not too many people wanted. They wanted the child with less problems. Right. So after having these children into my home for so long, I learned to love them. And I realized in the beginning, no, of course, you don't just love a child when they first come into your home. You're taking a child in for different reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether you want to give something back because you was blessed and all your children are well and healthy. So therefore, some parents who are unable to take care of their child, and so you've decided, okay, I want to give something back to someone else.
That's right.
And that was the beginning of taking that child in my home. And no, in the beginning, I did not love that child automatically. I had to. You learn to love a child by what you have to do for that child, caring for that child, making sure that child is healthy, making sure that child is clean up when you're changing the diapers, just like you would your natural baby. Of course, when you carry the baby for 9 months, you say, oh, I just love this child. Well, you bonded with that child for that child being in your womb. The same way when you have a child from foster care, you start bonding with that child because you are the person who have to make sure that child is cared for, make sure everything is going right with that child, emotionally, physical, everything.
Right.
You're the person the child is looking to keep them safe. So therefore, once you start embracing that child that way and watching out for that child against the whole world, because then you got to be the spokesperson for that child when you take the child to the doctor to make sure the doctors don't do anything harmful to the children.
Yeah.
Right.
And make sure when the child go to school that the child is treated fairly.
Right.
And that's when the bonding period comes in. And once you start bonding to that child is your child.
Interesting.
You know, this is something I think is very interesting in the last few things that you said. One of the things that I think about is that saying nature versus nurture. I'm curious about how many total foster children have you taken in? You mentioned about the one that you had to let go. Was that the only one that you had to let go?
No, that was the first one I had to let go. And me taking that particular child into my home came about not through diapers exactly. I had previously cared for a brother who was mentally challenged, and many would call retarded, you know, after my mother had passed. And therefore, with me having to care for that brother of mine, because me being the oldest child, it was 12 years. I was afraid of him.
Wow.
He was paranoid. He was very aggressive. And I just wasn't sure what he was going to do to me or my children or my husband, because he could get very agitated sometimes. Nevertheless, with me being the eldest child, I was the only one who was capable of caring for him. So many times while we was in the house, I wouldn't allow my husband, even to see how aggressive he was, because I realized that, oh my goodness, if my husband knew that how fearful I was of Bob, he would say that Bob had to leave.
Yeah.
Bob didn't have no one else but me.
Okay.
So after caring for Bob for 12 years, during those years, I cried unto the Lord and said to him, God, I don't love him. I'm afraid of him. Why I have to be stuck with caring for him? Why did Mama die if she was responsible to take care of him? And when he finally, he committed suicide.
Wow.
And when I found him one day, I realized how much I had loved my brother.
Exactly.
And but it was too late. And therefore, that drew me into caring for the 5-month-old baby who I took in my home after I met his mom. His mother was mentally retarded, as we would call, and therefore she was being molested by her father. After realizing that, she was pregnant with this 5-month-old baby that I took in my home also. So I had her in my home for a period of time, and then I had her child in my home. When I realized that she would harm the child because I was giving the child more attention than her, I had to decide what to do. So with me deciding, because the 5-month-old child was born on the same birthday as my brother Bob, I decided I would keep the child and have his mother placed in a place where she could be cared for also. So that's how that came about.
Wow.
And the book came through because of feeling the guilt all those many years that had I came home directly from work, I could have saved my brother's life.
Wow.
And how old was your brother, Miss Reed?
When he passed, 28.
And you were about how old?
I was 35.
Okay. I was just wondering. If you're just joining us, we're live in the vocal booth, and we're talking about blacks and the foster care and adoption system. And we're joined tonight by the one and only Verdi Pringle Reed, who is not only a foster care parent herself, which we're going to talk to her a lot about tonight, but she also heads up the ministry called Smile Bandages, which is uniting teens, preteens, the youth, ultimately, along with the seniors. And so she has a great program where she brings the two together at nursing facilities for the elderly. And before we move on to the topic heavily, we want to give you an opportunity. One, I want to hear if someone wants to buy a book, how much is it, where can they get it, and how will it then funnel through into your organization? And then two, I think you have a program you want to promote.
Yes.
Okay.
The books can be purchased through Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, also on my website, verdireed.com. And Smile Bandages Ministry, it's a nursing home ministry whereby I am taking youth as well as mentally challenged adults to the nursing home with me to entertain and to dance for the residents there. We have a upcoming program where I wrote a play called Cupid's Arrow, and the play consists of the 3 mentally challenged adults as well as 3 of my grandchildren and a couple of the youth. In this particular play, we talks about faith, hope, and charity. So the first scene, Faith, talks about a widow and a selfish neighbor. And thereafter, that scene talks about a police officer and someone driving a car trying to get out, hoping that the police officer does not give a ticket. But the main part that we're talking about, a love, which consists of the children. The grandmother come to the nursing home, and she bringing her grandchildren with her to teach them how to love. The children are talking to one another very negative and wanting to fight each other and don't want to be with the grandmother at the nursing home. Therefore, the grandmother is saying to them, you cannot, if you don't love one another, how can I bring you to the nursing home to dance for the seniors, to show them that you love them? So therefore, the grandmother decided, I'm going to show you how to dance. And she dances. And then she have the children dancing with her. After the dance is finished, they have love stickers because Cupid comes in once they become frozen. And he put a love sticker on each of them. So they're not mean and nasty to each other anymore. Then they decided that they love everybody and they're going to listen to their grandmother and they're going to dance for the seniors. When they dance for the seniors,
don't give the whole plot away. Come on, you got to say something for the seniors who are watching tonight.
And I need some of those love stickers.
Yeah. But Chill's gonna take a second and promote where it's gonna be.
Yes, the Smile Bandage Ministries presents a Cherub's Arrow. It's a drama play. Cherub's Arrow is written, of course, by our guest tonight, Mrs. Verdi Pringle Reed, and it will be in the Plainfield, New Jersey, at the Arista. Okay, Arista Care Nursing Home at 40 Norwood Avenue on March 4th at 2 p.m. And then at Genesis Nursing Home at 1400 Woodland Avenue on March 25th at 2 p.m. Is that a Saturday? I'm just saying for myself right now. Is that a Saturday?
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. I'm trying to get there, see that. Okay, and that's on March 25th at 2 p.m. Once again at 1400 Woodland Avenue. And make sure you guys go support and go see a Cherub's Arrow. Once again, let me just read this small misnomer. Smile Bandages Ministries, Inc. is a nonprofit organization functioning for the sole purpose of encouraging youths and seniors to develop relationships of love and trust towards one another while worshiping God together in the spirit of truth and mutual support. And to bless this ministry financially, just visit, get this everyone, www.verdireed.com. www.verdiread.com. Verdi Read, one word.
Chat.
Got that? That's www.verdiread, one word, VERTIEREID.com, where you may purchase books from the author, Miss Verdi. Read.
You know, that is absolutely beautiful.
It really is a wonderful thing. It really is, and congrats to you. Yes. All right. So now we're going to move heavy into tonight's topic. And
Before you do that, I just want to say welcome to Queen Cinnamon, who's in chat
What's
today.
up, Queen?
What's
Long
up,
time no
Queen?
Yes,
Much
it's
love,
been a
ladies, to
while.
you all.
And also, let's take a moment to give them the phone number for those who want to call in and chime in on tonight's topic. It's 646-233-1302.
1302.
Once again, 646-233-1302. And you can also sound off in our chat room. Just take a moment and give yourself a cool and interesting screen name, and then just go for it and let us know what you're thinking about tonight's topic. All right, everybody. Did you all know? Okay, so the average age of children, all children in foster care, is 10 years old. That's the average age. Of that, 2% of them are male and 48% of them are female. As far as blacks, non-Hispanic blacks, there are 32%. And this was back, I got to get the date of this. And this actually is 2005, so I didn't find something that's really extremely up to date, but maybe we can do that while we're talking. But in 2005, 32% blacks were in out-of-home care, foster care, and then 15% were in the general population. So the numbers are high. As to why we're in there, that's what we want to talk about tonight. Clearly, poverty is an issue, drug use, abuse, and I'm going to give the floor to you, Ms. Reed, so you can tell us from what you've seen, what you've learned, what are usually the reasons of why there are more black people or children in the system as opposed to other races?
Sad to say, with poverty, just like you says, also drugs. Many of the children that I've cared for and come from a family, their mother was doing drugs while she was carrying the child. Therefore, once she had the child, the hospital notified DIFAS that the child had drugs in the system.
Okay.
Once DIFAS comes in the picture, the child is removed from that parent and placed into a foster family home, which would be my home or other foster parents. And that's how, it starts off through DIFAS removing a child from that parent. Also when there's abuse as far as sexual abuse. Some children are in home where the mother is with a boyfriend and the children are being sexually abused by that other person. They also are being abused in other ways also. Right. So once someone report that to DIFAS, someone goes out to the home, and if they see their reasonable cost to remove that child will be removed also. Or the children will be removed. Many times the whole family is moved out that home and placed in a safe place. So, and the children usually are split up at that time because sometimes DIFAS don't have enough parents who have decided to become a foster parent to take these children in their home. And medical, if one of the children has some mental issues or medically fragile, because those are the most children that I usually take was those who was medically fragile, and a child could be medically fragile because of with the drugs in the system, or they're also medically fragile because other things that after birth the doctor decided that this child cannot go into a regular foster home. Then DIFAS come and intervene and have special homes set up to place these children different from a regular foster home family.
Let me ask this, going back into the nature versus nurture thing, because you spoke a lot about the nurture, which is definitely children definitely need to be nurtured. They need to be loved. They need to know what it is to love as well. But just going over the last few things that we spoke about, the percentage of, you said it's like the average is years old, things like that, the nature part. Because I think that's the part, especially for those who are interested in really being foster parents, need to really hear more about, because, this is about genetics. Right. So, like you said, you took in a 5-month-old child, but things as they developed started to change, and a lot had to do with their own nature. Yes. And so my question is, how, if you were to give a tip on how to really handle dealing with the nature of a child, what would you say?
Well, with those children who has issues with emotionally issues, especially love, cuddling them. Some of the children who came to my home came there crying all the time, so something was wrong. I didn't know exactly what the problem was, but after handling that child for a couple of weeks and after going into months and still trying to find out why this child crying all the time, and looking at the child, what makes the child happy or what's going on in this child's life from the past history, it tends you to just do what would come natural. Although I've cared for children from the hospital and young as newborn, but I also cared for a child who was 11 years old. And a particular child, when she came into my home, she was angry. She was angry with her situation. She was angry because I was the 14th home that she was placed in. Wow. Many times these children are placed into a foster home, and for some reason or another, it don't work in that particular home, and they're placed into another one, and then they're placed into another one. They're trying to find a place so this child can start to thrive. And it's hard for some children because of the environment that they was removed from. So therefore, they are still angry with whatever going on in their lives from their mother and father. Many of them knew that their parents was taking drugs, and many of them knew that they was placed from one place to another because of being molested. So therefore, when they come to a foster parent, they're angry, and they can be real nasty and push them away, and want to step in, they will run away from you from time. And if you're really not into it and want to make a difference in that child's life, you will give them away. You would call diapers and say, I can't handle this. Take this child out of my home. So you have to be somebody who's really dedicated and motivated to make a difference in the child's life. And that's what happens with me, because in the beginning, this 11-year-old, she decided that she was going to leave. She wasn't going to stay with me anymore.
Wow. 11-year-old.
When I
leave, run away.
Yes.
Okay.
And
wow.
she packed her bag one night and say, you might as well do what everybody else did. Call Dife and tell them, come get me, because you're going to do it sooner or later anyhow.
Wow.
And when I realized why she was carrying on so badly, I decided to try another approach with her. And I told her, I love you just like I love my own children, and I know you have a place here. Wow. And I started having trouble in school, fighting and complaining, taking other people's articles, because many times they come into a home when they're a child that age, they will steal and hide things.
You know what I wanted to bring up, and like I said, and this goes out there to everyone out there. I definitely encourage foster parenting and adoption, and I'm currently right now going through a thing or two with a family member. My sister-in-law is currently in that process, and it's a special love that you have to have. See, a lot of times we watch television, and it on TV you see the child who's 12, 13, and they're like, daddy, daddy, and they come running out, and then the movie just shows the happy ending. But it really isn't like that. It's very difficult. Everybody doesn't just get a baby, as you said, a newborn instill your own values in, and their child will grow up. But what happens when the child already has values and disappointments that it has achieved, like you said, prior? So I applaud personally for that once again. I guess my question to you would be, and I got to be fair here, there's two sides of the fence.
Right.
There are those people that are skeptical about a lot of foster parents and saying that maybe they're taking more on for their own personal reasons, more monetary gain, more things of that nature. How do you, being one who, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't doubt that yours is genuine, how do you feel when there are other ones out there that are doing it for different reasons and getting away with those things? How does that make you feel as an honest foster parent?
Okay, when I think about that, because like during the years, I've changed caseworkers. And so when a new caseworker is on the case of a particular child, and especially the kind of children I've cared for, they had experience with foster parents who, just like you say, are doing it for their own gain. And I, say to some of them, all right, it's all right if they're doing it for their gain. If they need the finances to take care of these children, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as they treat the child well. The only thing that irritates is taking a child into their home for the money, and then they're mistreating the children when they're not taking responsibility of seeing that that child is clothed properly so that child can go to school and fit with their peers. Then I see that irritates me badly. But it's nothing wrong with a foster parent realizing that they cannot make ends meet with just off their salary.
True.
I was fortunate enough that I didn't have that problem, but many of them are not fortunate as I am. So therefore, if they taking the finances to help them and also taking care of that child, I have no problem with that.
Do you think too, and like, this is just a question that I have, and I know with adoption, especially, and let's put this, I'm going to give you a situation where the child older, okay, and what I realized, once again, going through a process, the child has just as much say in a case to stay as the quote-unquote new family or adoptive parent. Do you think that should be changed? Because sometimes kids, in their pain, like you said from previous ones, even though this may be a perfect place for them, but just because this parent here says, no, you cannot, they'll form a rebellion. I can tell a social worker, you know what, I don't like this house. This is the state allows that, and it could, just from their saying that, the adoption period could be over. Sort of like the parent, it puts the parent in handcuffs because they gotta, how can I say it, leverage toward the child, kind of let them get away with things. It's sort of like more of a bargain as opposed to you being a parent and the adoptive child being a child. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, really, when you come to children who have passed what age is it's a name they call it. I can't think of it now, but it's a certain age when a child has passed that age. 7. And they consider these children hard for anybody to adopt them.
Definitely.
And if there's a child who a family want to adopt, and really out of the goodness of their heart, because they're rewarded as if giving something back themselves, because they adopt for many reasons, they also have a chance to go before the courts, and the judge who have to answer to what's going on in that child's life has the last say. And many times when the judge has all the everything on her table, or his table, what's going on, the judge will not just release that child to go back into the system. The judge will let that child know, listen, either you're going to go with this family that want to adopt you. Exactly. You have a chance to be in a home with a family who can give you love. Otherwise, you're going to wind up staying in the system in a group home. And so if a child do not want to stay in a group home and they really want to be adopted, they will think about it twice,
Oh, okay. So you were talking about the age of where they will have to go into the group home, right?
Yes.
I believe. Don't quote me on this. I believe that's 14.
Well,
I believe. Don't quote.
No, because the child that I took in my home, who was 7 years old, and I told you she had already been in the home previously 14 times.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not decided to work with her and keep her, she would have wound up in a group home when she was 11.
I see. I just wanted to comment also on what Chill, because I definitely understand the question. You mentioned, should the children have a say? And I think one of the reasons why it is important personally is because there are a lot of people out there that are doing this for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yes.
And if the children are not allowed to
express themselves,
then you won't know the difference. But sometimes it could just be that a kid is just completely unhappy because, of course, when they're in pain, the way it is presented is as anger. It looks like they're just angry, but they're just extremely hurt. And everything, everything looks, every little thing you do that look like they are being accepted, or this is something that it's eventually, because it could be that you're completely loving them, but then they have to worry about putting their guard down, and what happens if all of a sudden you
gotta go back.
You gotta learn to trust too, basically, and I definitely respect that, especially if they're going through a trying situation with other families before. And it's a tough situation, because I'm gonna be honest, I would have never known this. Like I said, I was totally naive to all this until this process happened to come through, and currently it's going through my family now.
Now, could you speak upon the process a little bit of the adoption versus it being a two-parent family versus a single-parent family?
Well, a single family or a two-parent family. Lifers have to investigate that home. We call a home study period, where the person who want to adopt a child will have to have a background check, and also
and we don't want to lose our caller, so we're going to put bookmark right there, and I'm going to take this caller from the 908. State your name and where you're calling from. You're live in the vocal booth. Are you there, caller?
Caller from 08.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Welcome to Live in the Vocal Booth. Tell me where you're calling from.
Actually calling from North Plain, New Jersey.
Welcome, North Plain. What's your name? What's your first name?
Sorry?
What's your first name, so we can be on a first name basis here?
Actually, my name is Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Robin. What's going on?
No, we're good. What brings you to the show tonight? What prompted you to call in?
Well, this topic is something that's, I guess, I've been adopted, so I know about everything that you're talking about. I've experienced it, foster homes and being adopted itself, being abused when I was young. So I've actually been through all of it.
So shed some light on us. Tell us what your experience was like, whatever you feel like sharing.
Well, I have to say that being adopted is something very special when you do eventually get adopted. But for me, I was adopted when I was 8 years old, and before I got adopted, I was in many foster homes. I'd say at least 10 to 12 foster homes. It was me and brother. We were together. We were taken away from my mom because I was being sexually abused. Physically abused. So, I went through the foster homes, and eventually I got adopted when I was 8 years old. And by then, I can say that I was I had tough skin because my guard was up. Even to this day, I have a hard time expressing myself as far as emotional. In relationships, it's very hard for me to be in relationships, express myself, things of that matter.
Let me ask you a question. So you said you got adopted when you were 8 years old. So assuming that you were a foster child of the family that adopted you, correct?
Okay, I was a foster child. Can you say that again?
Oh, the that adopted you. You were first foster child to that family for some time before they actually adopted you, correct?
Yeah, it's like a process you go through. Like when me and my brother got there, I guess it's like a trial basis first. I remember the DICES workers would come and visit me and see how I was doing and you know how I liked the family. And I was 8 years old then. You know, back then I was happy to be with a family. But I can say it's just hard to adjust to being with a family that you know that's not really your real mom and dad. That was my main issue with my parents. Like I took them through a ring, let me tell you, my adopted parents, because I wasn't attached to them. And it's harder to be with a family when you're adopted at an older age because you don't have that attachment.
Right. You know, so the reason why I asked you that question because I was just curious, how long were you actually with that family before they adopted you? And you mentioned something I was going to go in next is, I'm assuming this was a loving family that you really cared for them, but was always some type of disconnection?
Yes, always.
Okay, so
till this day, there's still some kind of disconnection.
And
I know what it's from, and I have to say it's from me being moved to several foster homes, going through a lot with my mom and things of that matter.
Now, I want to say, first of all, Robin, I applaud you for just sharing.
Appreciate you calling in, Rob.
Calling in, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. What I'm interested in is two things, because I want to get it back to Rachel last. When you were younger and inside of the foster the home, did you realize that there were more, obviously, more black children there, and then secondly, what was the conditions like there? And when I say conditions, a lot of times when I know some people go to prison, there's a saying that, and not to equate prison with foster homes, but I'm saying there's a saying that they say there's more for me in here than it is out there. So I want as being a child amongst the children there, was that the thought pattern? Was people saying, you know what, I'd rather be here than be out there with the family, especially feeling that you were betrayed or being difficult to some of the foster parents? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I did feel like that. Well, I'd rather be in the foster home, actually. But as far as I'm Puerto Rican myself, and the farm that I was in did have it was majority Puerto Rican and black, and it was the foster homes I was in actually weren't that bad, I have to say. I really wasn't treated that bad there. They were very strict, but nothing really major, I can say.
Okay, let me ask you this as well. While you were in foster care, was there any type of viewing process with your original parents? Like,
did I see my birth parents while I was there?
Right, like while you in foster care?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all. I was basically taken from the home because I was being sexually abused.
Yeah, so they definitely want to put that disconnect there. Yeah.
Okay.
And do you have any type with your birth mother/parents day?
No.
No.
Wow.
Well,
I really don't want to.
Okay. Okay.
Because the issues or whatever. I do have lots of brothers and sisters out there that I actually lost contact with. I had at least 10 of them.
Wow.
And I don't know where they're at, but those are the only people that I would want to keep contact with.
Now,
if I could.
I'm sorry. This is Smooth. What's up, Robin? I got a question for you. All that you've gone through, do you have children?
Yes, I do. I've got 5 children.
5 children. Okay. Now how does that affect your relationship with them, or does it affect your relationship with them?
That's a very good question. Like I have like body issues.
Okay.
It's very strange. It's because they're my children, but I still have I love my children and everything, but I have a hard time showing emotion.
Wow.
I really do, and it hurts me a lot because that's just like I said, I have skin.
Right.
And it's just from the past and what's happened to me. I try to show as much love I can for my kids, but it's hard for me to be very, emotional, hugging, loving, and things like that. It's hard for me to do that. It's so hard for me to do that.
You know what's so interesting? I'm so glad that you called, Robin, because this actually reminds me of a report that I had to do for one of my classes in college, and it was about adoption. And there was an article I read, and I wish I could remember exactly where the article was from. In the article, the gentleman mentioned that he was adopted as a young child, and he had a very loving family. Everything was great with his family. He didn't actually go through a whole lot of foster care, but it was, no matter how loving they was always still some type of disconnection. There was something that was missing, and even as an adult, he wished that he could understand it, but because there was something missing, it was always something missing.
Did you make
absolutely
very quickly?
I agree with you. I don't know. I've been through counseling for this, and there's really nothing. I've tried to get help, but it's always some type of disconnection. Even with my adopted parents now, when I try to keep a relationship with them, but I call them mom and dad, but I don't feel like it's hard to say this. I don't feel like my mom and dad. I just feel like they're a couple that just adopt me.
Now, Robin, how old were you when you went into the foster care system?
I was, I believe, 5 to 6 years old.
Okay. And does your adoptive parents know how you feel towards them?
I haven't really expressed as much as something tonight, but we've had little conversations.
Wow.
I not as much as what I'm saying right now, because, like I said, I can't really talk to them out of some reason. I can't express myself to them. Nothing.
Well, they probably pick up on it. Now, is there a different race? Are they black? Are they white?
Yeah, they're actually Italian.
Italian. Oh, wow. Do you think that plays a role in it?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
They never bothered me at all.
You mentioned something that you mentioned about how hard it is for you in relationships, and I was assuming that when you were talking about relationships, you were talking about relationships. But how easy is it for you to disconnect people in general? Let's say you had a girlfriend who's really close to you, and at some point you had a problem and she didn't want to deal with you anymore. How easy is that for you?
Oh, fast.
But you just
I'll disconnect with somebody real fast. I don't want to bother with them, even in relationships.
Right. But it's probably the opposite when it comes to getting close with someone, correct?
Well, if I'm in a relationship now, I have a hard time expressing myself. I can't. And it's an issue between me and my other half. It's always an issue because he feels like I'm not there for him. If you understand what I'm saying,
yeah, definitely.
I can't. I don't really know how to say it, but I just can't express myself to him. If we're going through a lot of stuff, I don't let things out as much. I keep it to myself. You understand?
Right. So you're more likely to just hold it in, tough it out than you are to be as expressive as he probably expects you to be.
Yep.
Right. Now, so how long have you actually been in this relationship? Has this been a long relationship, or is it more
6 years.
Oh, 6 years. That's definitely commendable. And no, the reason why I'm saying that is because, as you mentioned, it's easy for you to disconnect. So to be in a connection like that for as long as you've been is great. Would you say that you actually love him?
Yeah, but I just don't express myself to him. Like I said, I can't. I'm not there. I'm not saying I love you. I can't say. And I'm 35 now. I really don't. I haven't said that to any man actually.
Wow.
I have a hard time saying that to any man. Expressing myself like I can't do it.
So you've never told him in the 6 years y'all been together that you love him?
Wow.
You probably showed.
She said nope.
You probably
Nope. Wow.
Now, Robin, I want to ask a question, and obviously it's hard for you to answer it because this was not your journey. Do you think your feelings would be different if you never really knew your birth parents, or do you think your feelings would be different?
Absolutely, and I've always felt, and I tell anybody who wants to, I tell them that if my adopted parents adopted me and my brother. Me and my birth brother together. And they also adopted my sister, who she was a newborn. She has a wonderful relationship with them. And I feel, and I've always felt like this, if you were to get adopted, it's better to be adopted when like a baby and you're a newborn.
Yeah.
And I feel like if that were the case, I would feel more connected with them. You understand? Because it'd be like they'd be my parents, like a bond. Something that you would share together for, like, since you were a little baby. But I adopted when I was like 8 years old. I've been through foster homes, and I've been hurt, sexually abused, and just been through too much. By then, I just feel like I was, broke down by then.
How is your brother doing this?
My brother is the same exact way as I am.
Now, is your brother older or younger? Or?
He's 2 years younger than me.
I see.
Now, it's very interesting. I actually have a half sister, and I didn't know that I had a half sister until like 24, 25 years old. And turned out my father didn't know she existed. He didn't know. He had an inkling because it happened when he was in high school, and he grew up back at Martinsville, Virginia. You talk about country, and that's red dirt, one light town. So, long story short, she decided she wanted to see her birth parents when she was about 30, and she had just got married. And so she met both her births, and she had an adopted brother. So her adopted parents adopted two children at the same time. Same situation as yours, Robin.
Right.
Now, the thing that's really interesting is her brother, who's I think maybe a year or two younger. He's tried to kill himself. He's high.
Wow.
He just cannot get it together. And I don't know if he was adopted at birth. I know she was. I don't know about him. And it's just really interesting. I'm into that show Intervention, and I will never forget this episode that came on a couple of years ago. This guy named Gabe, and Gabe was an Indian. He was born in India, Calcutta, and spent his first 3 years on the streets of Calcutta. His parents abandoned him. He was begging for money and everything like that. And then this Christian couple went on a mission trip, and then so they got to know Gabe, as a result of, I guess, him being in an orphanage, and decided they were going to adopt him. And so come home, here he is, this one Indian child in a majority white home and a majority white town. And they were just white. They were like blonde hair, blue eyed, but they loved him dearly, and they could to show him that they loved him just as if he was their own, or came out of the mother. But he just had the hardest time accepting like how much he looked like someone else, and then obviously he was dealing with his abandonment issue. So I wonder, do you feel, since tonight we are focusing on blacks, and obviously you may not be black, but how do you feel about transracial adoptions?
That's a good question. I don't really necessarily agree with it.
Really?
I don't. But like I said, I was adopted. Italian family adopted me. I didn't have a problem with it. You know, they treated me like I was their own, and I didn't see any difference. But as I got older, I think I don't think that different races should be put with. If you're Puerto Rican, you should be put with Puerto Rican. If you're black, you should be put with black. I think it should be like that.
Now, do you feel
because all right, I'm Puerto Rican. This is what I go through all the time. I don't know a lick of Spanish.
Wow. That's
so everybody, everybody, they're always coming up to me trying to speak Spanish to me, and it's uncomfortable because you know what? I have Puerto Rican in me. I'm Puerto Rican. My family's from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Wow.
It's uncomfortable because I was adopted to an Italian family, and I've never been in a family household with anybody who's Puerto Rican. It's just uncomfortable for me.
Do you speak Italian though?
A little bit, yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, listen.
Robin, I wanted to ask you: Did your Italian parents did they try to connect you with your heritage at all?
No.
Yeah,
and see,
my question.
And see, that's
and you know what? It's funny because I think the only time that I knew that I was like Puerto Rican was when I think I got in trouble one time, and they asked me what my race was, and I looked at my adopted father, and I'm like, and he said Puerto Rican. That's the only time from then on, I was like, oh, well, I'm Puerto Rican,
Wow. That's big.
I just got an epiphany on
That's
that
big.
one.
And I'll be the first to say, I'm transracial adoptions. However, especially when it comes to white families adopting black children or children that are minorities, let's just be real, I think you better do an amazing job of getting that to Harlem, taking them to Sylvia's. I mean, whatever you gonna do, your black play dates. You know what I'm saying? Because I think, I remember watching an episode of Intervention, and I felt for this because, I felt for both sides. The family had nothing but love, but I also think they just really didn't know. They could not relate.
Exactly.
And specifically, and please, I don't want to make this so racial, but specifically with white people are the majority. Pretty much everywhere. They're the majority for now, right? The Hispanic section. You all are catching up quick, Rob.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We will. We trying our best to stay the middle.
Right, but
There you go. He's funny.
But my thing is, I think because of that, they really do have a hard time understanding how hard it is to be the only one, and that's a whole nother topip for another day.
And listen, again, it is. You coming out speaking this, I'm gotta give you a lot of credit.
Yes.
My heart goes to you, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I'm feeling you. I do got one other question.
Yes.
Now, from your perspective, I want you to jump out of your shoes and jump to someone who dealt with a child that was you. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
What would you do? And give people advice. Maybe somebody right now has a child that is feeling what you felt. What would be the best thing for them to do, a foster parent or an adoptive parent to that child?
Great question.
Well, I think that if they were anything like me, and I gave my adoptive parents a very hard time. I think what they could do is really try to really connect with them and sit down with them and express themselves and let them know that we love you repeatedly, and is there anything that we could do for you? Counseling, something to address the issue. I didn't get counseling later on after I left my adopted parents. It was later on when I got older. But I think when it's something like that, I think that helps. Counseling helps, for everyone to sit there and express themselves and, get it out, and just for them to let them know that they care for them, they love them, and, outings is always, nice, take them out places and just have fun and make them feel, loved and stuff like that.
That's great. Now, Robin, if you have the time, we would love for you to hang on and chime in for the rest of the night. We're going to break in about 5 minutes because we have a guest artist calling in. But do you have the time to hang out with us?
Sure.
Wonderful. Now, thank you so much, Robin.
Let's make her a platinum listener tonight.
Yeah,
Robin, platinum listener.
But here's the trick, Robin. When the artist gets on the phone, you can't be like yelling at your kids and stuff in the background because people still don't hear you. All right.
Your phone on mute.
Yeah, put your phone on mute when it happens. All right? So we already told you now. Susan has a question. We're gonna go back to Verdi. She has a question about foster care and people being reintroduced back into their home.
I just wondered, Miss Verdi, when you were had foster children in the home, or as you do currently, how many times did they return back to their natural, biological parents?
The children who came through my home, quite a few of them, they visit their natural parent from time to time to give the parent an opportunity to get their child back.
Okay.
But the majority of children who came through my home, the parents did not follow through with the procedure and doing what they were supposed to do to get their child back. And they lost their child to the system.
Wow.
And once the child is lost to the system, the child is adopted by anyone.
Wow. I actually read on that same sheet, and once again, this is 2005, so I don't know how much has changed, but they said 60% of children that enter into a foster home are adopted by that family. Wow. 60% of them. Wow. Now, let's back up a little bit. So let's say I'm always amazed by foster parents. I really am. Adopted parents, it's obvious you want to have kids and for whatever reason can't do that, so you want your own. I have a family member that just went through that themselves. But foster parents are really amazing to me because you can get yourself attached. You can have them for 5 weeks. You can have them for 15 years. And how do you deal with that even before you say, okay, I know the different, and I choose foster, and then how does the system prepare you for that?
That sounds a difficult question because the system really did not prepare you for that. The only thing that they let you know from the beginning that these are not your children, and there's only certain things you can do while you're caring for them in your home and things that you can't. They let you know that the child is not up for adoption in the beginning, and they can remove that child at any time. So when a person like myself take a child and find myself getting attached to that child, it's always in the back of my mind that diapers can remove this child at any time.
That's gotta be a tough situation to be in. Like, so, well, it's a parent that you have lots of love to give, but I think that you have to be a special kind of person to put yourself in a position to know that your heart can get broken over and over and over again, at any given time.
So
I'm sorry.
So then why'd you choose?
Yeah, that was going to be my second half of it.
I had already asked the question, Smooth Pete.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Copycat. Go ahead.
I decided to take in foster children after all my children became adults. Since that one little boy that I had, he wasn't involved in the system sometime. He was placed in my home temporarily by diapers because he was being abused. And after that, with me opening up my to him, I got involved with foster care. I looked at a television program one day, and I saw the children who was on the television in need of food, and they was hungry, and I said, well, I was going to reach a station. And I said, can't help all of them. And all of a sudden in my spirit, I felt like, well, you can help at least the one that are here. And that would open me up to start taking children in my home to foster them and care for them.
What cost did you have? And I want to jump into that aspect of it, the monetary aspect, because at times when you have mentally challenged kids, some kids that may be with disability, they make you build things around your home too. Is that an incurred cost on you personally, or does the state take that into hand?
Okay. In my books, I write a lot about the things that I've dealt with caring for children who was mentally fragile, whose need was greater than a regular child in the system. And I had to fight for everything this child needed.
Wow.
To get diapers,
wow,
to pay for it. And sometimes it took a long time. You know, I needed a ramp because the child did not walk, and so therefore I needed a ramp built on to so I can use to put the child on the bus, because at that time she wasn't at home all the time. She could go to school. So it took me a year at one particular time. Diapers tries to get with medical fragile children, the health insurance to pay for what's needed.
Okay.
So certain things that the health insurance do not pay for, diapers are responsible to provide. And sometimes I have to go through it back and forth, working with that caseworker and calling that caseworker, supervisor, whatever, that I need this, I can't do it anymore. And it can be stressful. It can make you feel like, oh, I do this anymore. Diapers not working with me. They're not even giving me what I need. And many times I would have given up. But I always thought about diapers is not the one who's going to suffer.
Exactly. At the end of the day.
Going to suffer.
Now, since we're talking about the cost, let's flip it. I've heard from other people that foster parents do receive some type of financial aid. So, want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. For a regular foster child coming to your home, you might receive some sort of stipend to help you, but it's nothing compared to what you actually going to spend on that child.
Exactly.
They might give you a certain amount, but it's not. It's just a portion. It's not even a third of what you actually need to care for that child.
Wow.
And that's when you ask. That's when you irritated by the fact that, and annoyed when you realize many people are taking these children in their home, and they really does not have a heart for it, because you see the child in the system who are not properly dressed, and you see children in the system who are hungry, look like when you see them, they're begging someone else for something. So you you're hard out to that, and you realize that foster parent not doing what he or she's supposed
I do
to.
have one thing that can help in your case. If you need a ramp built, our own Smooth
Here we go.
Smooth Pig
I was saying that, to be honest.
excellent carpenter.
I can't help you out.
Not fair about that.
Now, you and I have talked off camera, off air, and you told me. Now, first of all, take a second and tell the people, if you'd like, the three that you have now and why they are considered medically fragile. And then the question, what is the question I want to ask about that? You told me that you have like nurses that come in and help you as well. Do you have to take care of that on your own, or is DIFAS helping you with that?
Okay, that this particular child, I had said she was 8 months old, and she came into my home. She had seizures, seizure disorder, and in the beginning, she's the one child I told you that would cry all the time. I didn't know exactly what was wrong with her. I would be up in the night trying to cut her to help her and everything, and then realizing that this child was crying all the time because she was hungry.
Wow.
And she was having a difficult time eating. She was placed in home because of having the seizures, but also they consider her, some children placed in home because of their failure to thrive. No matter what you do, you just can't bond with them.
Right.
They can't gain any weight, and that's what was happening with this particular child. So after having her for a while, 3 years, with only me caring for her, when her health took a turn for the worse, then that's when she got ill enough to have a nurse come in my home to help me.
Okay.
So that was hard with me deciding that have strangers in my home. I did not want strangers in my home, and I thought I could do it by myself, and I was rejected help. But her health insurance was on a cover for it. And after talking with a social worker, she encouraged me to give it a try. After giving it a try, I said, okay, I'll give it a try. She was entitled to 16 hours because health was so fragile. And the doctors didn't really expect her to live. You know, that's how doctors didn't really expect either. So they got on board to work with me, with this child also. But with love and care, between myself and the nurses, this was in 2006, and she is still here. Good. Although she has
That's wonderful.
Quite a few doctors now, where she had only two doctors when I first cared for her. Now she has about 11, so her health is stable now.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Her health insurance pays for 12 hours of nursing.
Okay.
Other times she's been cared for, that falls on me.
That's you. Now, your other two daughters?
Okay, that's from another agency called it's DDD. Those are Division of Disabled.
Okay.
Taking adults in my home was a choice I decided to do after the young child health took a turn for the worse, because at that time before I was only handling children who was medical fragile through diapers. When her health took a turn for the worse, it was too much for me to care for other medical fragile children. So that's when I decided I would be the only one I would keep. And because my home opened for the mentally challenged, and I also went into that because of my brother.
Right.
I took in a woman who was Down syndrome. I had her when she was 35, I think, and she's 43 now, somewhere like that, somewhere around that. And therefore, afterward, when they decided to place a woman in my home just temporarily, I had no intention of keeping her. Her health was very bad. I was afraid that she was going to die just by going up the stairs. Wow. How ill she was. She couldn't walk from one room to the next room without being winded. She couldn't walk up the stairs. She couldn't sleep on the bed. And I had to give her a chance because there wasn't any other place at the time was going to take her. And her mother was, so I said I'll take her temporarily. After taking her temporarily, she weighed 399 pounds, and that's what scared me a little bit. I talked to the Lord, and I felt in my spirit that I could make a difference. And that's why I would take certain people in my home who I believe that I can make a difference in their lives, and to give them the best life that they have in the person who they are. And she's bipolar. And so after having her for 1 year, I wanted her doctors to see the change with her living with me. And she lost over 100 pounds.
Wow, that's wonderful.
That's great.
That's the young lady I met that did the dancing, and she was very vivacious and outspoken. Now, Robin, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Let me ask you, sitting here listening to Verdi, does this make you feel better? Does it provide some kind of healing to hear the love that this foster parent has? You may not have the opportunity to experience it for yourself, but does it heal you a little bit to know that there are wonderful foster parents? You had some because they adopted you, but how does it make you feel hearing that?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I love Robin.
I know her. She is straightforward and that's
straight up. You know,
she's like, nope.
Want some ice cream? No.
Robin, do you?
I'm very simple like that.
Do you have any questions for our guests?
Me?
Yes.
Oh. Actually, no, I don't have it.
Okay. Well, You put yourself right on out there, Jay, but I love the rest. So Soups, would you read Queen's comment? Do you still have it there?
Okay. Well, I have one from Miss Maddie here too.
I just want to remind people you're listening to BKS1 Radio.com.
Yeah, man. Great topic tonight.
Yes, where we are talking about blacks and the foster care system and the adoption system. We're joined by Verdi Pringle Reed, who is a foster care mother herself. She's been giving us some wonderful insight into her experiences. And then we have the lovely Rob, who's going to listen to us tonight, calling in and sharing her experiences as one who went through the foster system and then became an adopted child. Yes. Oh, and if you want to call in, feel free, 646-233-102. Okay, go ahead, Soups.
So Queen Simon writes, I got involved in a matter of the screen just moved.
Somebody must have just put something in there.
Okay. She says, I got involved once in a matter of raising a child, and IFIS uses others to get what they need and backstab us concerning what is best, and the child is still dangling with no real stable control environment. So to me, IFIS does more harm than good. Wow. And then she's, she has a word for DIFIS. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Queen sentiment. She says cut corners.
Now, I don't think, maybe I missed it, but Queen. Maybe I missed it. So tell us, because I have the steps here, which go to adopt. But tell us, when you do want to be a foster parent, Verdi, what do you have? What are the steps?
To call DIFIS, and you have to take a course. I think it's about 2 weeks.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, might have changed since I did, and it would take you at least about 6 months to a year before all the background and everything to place out in your home. You have an opportunity at that time to tell them what age you would like to take into your home, and then after that, the process began. Also to adopt the child, because although I haven't adopted any, the longest one I got was this young lady here, and that's 11-year-old. And the rewards I received from a child that I've cared in my home, and see the difference, the changes that take place in their life, was written by this young lady here who was 11 years old, who was placed into 14 different homes, and gave me the hardest time that I decided I do not want to take children that old anymore. Okay. But after 4 years of care for her, in this book, I placed a poem that she wrote to me. And it says, sitting here, looking at the window of life, looking back at all the pain and strife I had to endure to make me who I am now. And oftentimes I have to stop and ask myself, how? How did I endure being a child of drugs? How did I endure being a child without hugs? How did I survive moving from place to place? How did I survive being just another DIFIS case? A child of the system, there's so much I've been through. A child of the system, if only you knew what it's like to have a family you know nothing about. It made me so mad that I just wanted to shout. But instead, I didn't. I kept all to myself, trying not to dump my pain on anyone else. Then God sent me an angel from heaven above, a special angel to show me all kinds of love, an angel that I could tell my true feelings to. And she made me believe that Jesus loves you. Without her and God, I don't know what I would do, dealing with all the pain and sorrow that I went through. But instead, I stayed in God's word and prayed perpetually too. And he showed me there was another side than bad. He said, trust in me, child, and you'll never be sad.
That is wow. And I mean, that is some powerful words.
I hope Robin heard that.
I have a question for Rob based off of
Robin.
She dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
well,
yes.
I'll just tell you guys what the question was going to be. The question was going to be...
No, I'm just playing. That was my Robin impersonation. Go ahead, Go ahead, bro.
I was going to ask, because she mentioned that she didn't talk to her parents about this, but I was going to ask about if she actually talked about this to anyone, because that's one of the things that I think is also an issue for foster children, that they don't really who to express themselves to, and that's an issue within itself.
Wow, this is a
Phone
powerful topic. This is a powerful topic tonight. This is wonderful. Okay, go ahead.
I do got something that I did want to read with some of our.
You wrote a poem?
From
oh wow! We want to hear this thing.
It would be
I fell on the ground. My head got lumpy.
And yellow is
Go to the mouth, get the bumpy.
No, okay. Let's behave. We're being good.
Yes,
I don't know these people. I'm trying to tell you. I'm being very, very, very honest, Miss Reed. Okay. This article is brought up by our research team. Shout out to our research team. Good job. Adoption and foster care current is 3 questions about transracial adoption, and this was by Mina Sangster Heyman. Okay, an article that she wrote, and the question was: are there any legal restrictions or other against interracial adoption? And there was a law that was, and I wanted to bring this up because T. Tatum was talking about this earlier. The 1994 Multi-Ethnic Placement Act prohibits the delay or denial of any adoption or placement in foster care due to race, color, national origin of the child, or of the foster or adoptive parents, and requires the state to provide for diligent recruitment of potential foster and adoptive families who reflect the ethnic and racial diversity of children for whom homes are needed. And one thing that I found interesting here, let's say this, and it says directly, broken down plain English, the point is that we the child welfare system cannot keep a child in foster care while searching for the ideal racial or ethnic match. Exactly. But we also have to work to find families who want to adopt the same race children. After the original act, there had been in place for a couple of years, professionals in the field realized the language was not strong enough in favor of casting a wide net to find adoptive homes for children in need. So basically, they actually try hard to do that. But in a lot of ways, I do believe this is something that our caller had brought out. I forgot her name.
Robin.
Forgive me, Robin, which I thought was excellent, because here she is. Your culture is who you are.
Exactly.
And what's funny is, and I agree, I think T. Tatum or Soup said this, as a parent, you have to take all that into account.
Exactly.
If you have a child that you're adopting, enough, that's great love that you're doing that. But if that child is of different culture or ethnicity, it's your responsibility to not let them forget exactly who they came from.
That sounds very intelligent, so I'm sure I said it.
Wow. you were just lip syncing, Chill.
So that's good. That's good stuff.
Okay, so we talked quickly. You went over the steps of becoming a foster parent, and I found on a website called Adopt Us Kids, but us was capitalized, so I think the focus is on U.S. children. And it sounds like the process for adopting is very similar. The first step is you contact a local agency. Then the second step is you attend a local orientation. And then you also go through a training, which are, according to this website, 4 to 6 classes that are spread out over several weeks. Then there's an application process where I think you then get introduced to a social worker, and then they begin starting to find out about you and what it is that you're looking for, what you have to offer. Then there's the mutual assessment / home study. And then there's a licensing process that the parent has to go through, and that once again is working with the social worker and getting everything prepared. And then the last step is placement, and this whole process can take up to, if not a little more than, a year, but for the most part, on average, it's a year-long process. Now, I spoke with a family member who, similar to your situation, Chill, they're still kind of going through. They just received their son back in July, and he was a newborn, and so they adopted him, and so he didn't want to, to call in or to really sound off on it because he is still going through the process, so it's pretty fragile, but he got real, and he said, and he's in the Northern Virginia area, and he said that there were things that, the whole process wasn't terrible, but I wanted to hear some of the negatives. He said the thing that annoyed him is, number one, if a black child is put into a system to be adopted or a foster care system, they are automatically labeled special needs child.
Really?
Wow. That is what he said. And I don't know if that's national. I wasn't able to verify that. He said, but they are automatically labeled special needs child because they are not being adopted. The chances of them being adopted are slimmer than any other race. He said the other thing that annoyed him the most is he said, if you make a certain amount of money, you get charged more than someone who does not. He said the rule is if your income, your total household income is whatever up to $200,000, you get charged 10% of your income. What? As far as the process goes. And he says, so therefore, if you are in a lower income family, you're not charged as much. But if you make $20,000 or up to, $20,000, you're charged 10% of that. And I'd never heard that. I say, obviously, I'm not going to say, are you sure?
Yeah,
he just went through the whole. He's like, it does not make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I don't see how that's not discriminatory.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like you're telling me I'm buying a child.
Basically, and this is the same child.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to adopt little Joey, and somebody who made less, they're going to pay less to adopt little Joey than someone who's more wealthy.
But what I don't understand is this anyway. Why if I'm trying to take a child out of the system and bring him into my house and show him love, why do I have to purchase? Why do I have to pay you anything for that? That's what I understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that either,
Verdi.
honestly.
Go ahead, Verdi.
Yes, Verdi.
Are these children in the system, or are these children just up for adoption?
This one, I believe, well, put it this way. I think they wanted a baby, and they got the little boy as soon as he was born.
But that's through agency.
And
that's something different too.
That's what he said. He said agencies. I don't care if you are cloaked under some church or whatever kind of way you got your foundation set up. Adoption agencies are about money, and don't get it twisted.
I hope he didn't buy a black market baby.
Wow.
If you're paying money, because I mean, like you just said, it could be cloaked on whatever, but. If you're telling me I can give you 20% if I make $100,000 or more, that sounds a little shady to me.
It sounds shady to me as well.
But these are children different from the foster kids that you're talking about.
So break that down.
I was just about to ask you, what is the difference between the two of them?
Foster care are children who are being removed from their parents because of different issues or whatever happened to their family to bring them in under the state, for the state to take over them, to place them in a home. So these children who are placed in homes is when you become a foster parent. In that sense, they're not children that you are adopting from an agency. Have children whose children come because of what you would call a family that just can't take care of their child, and at the time of birth they want to give their child up for adoption. But just giving their child up for adoption, not giving them their children up for adoption in the foster care system. Many times a family would go to adoption agency to adopt their child, but they wouldn't even consider going to adopting a child in the foster system because of their background, because of their issues, because they're fearful of what that child might grow up to become. So they wouldn't even look at a child to adopt in the foster system. So it have to be a special person who would consider taking a chance to adopt a child that the state has removed from someone's home, or a child that was born and the state had to take them over because the parents was doing drugs or doing something other. Because most ordinary people would say, I don't want to adopt a child from the foster system because that child might grow up and become with whatever was in their blood from their family background, and they don't know whether that child will grow up and turn on them. So many people ordinarily will not even consider going to the state DIFAS or someplace.
And it would be easier, you think, going that route?
Through DIFAS?
Going through DIFAS.
Of course.
Well, it's kind of like the difference between public school and private school, if you think about it.
Right.
A lot of parents put their children in private school because there's a belief of a certain type of education that they'll get, and there's a certain type of people there, where public school is open to anybody and everybody.
Right.
Yes.
So,
well, let's switch gears again, and let's talk about your children. So you started off at the top of the show. You have 4 biological children with your husband, Randy, right? And so I know some of the story because I remember when we talked off air. But okay, so this is the part that I find interesting. You had foster children that were around. Now, were your kids adults then, or were they?
I started when my youngest child was around about 16.
Okay.
So therefore, during that time, I realized I would never have taken in children in my home out of the foster system who was older than my children.
That makes sense.
Younger just because.
Okay, so tell me, were most of your children out of the house by then, by the time you started bringing in the foster kids?
Yes.
Okay, so now explain to us how the whole process worked, or how you came about. Were your kids, now how many of the 4 children have adopted kids that you fostered at one point?
2 of them.
2 of them. Okay, so talk about that. Do they have children of their own? Okay, tell us that story.
Well, I never insisted for my children to be responsible for the children that I took in my home. However, 2 of my daughters, they came alongside me and start doing foster care themselves. So as I was caring for the children who was medically fragile, my middle daughter, who at that time was not married, my other 3 children was married and had children of their own. So this particular daughter wanted to have children, and she wanted to have a family like her sisters and her brother. Therefore, I had a little boy who I had was placed in my home at 2 years old, and he had special needs because I only took the children with special needs. But he was a sweet little child, and so therefore I encouraged that daughter. Said, well, why don't you take this young man here, and you'll have a family, because she didn't want to have children before she got married.
Okay.
And so therefore she adopted that young boy.
Single.
She was a single mom.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later.
And now, so she adopted him. So it was a process where through DIFAS, she had to go through the training for a while, but because she was already in the system to being responsible to help me care for those children.
Right.
So she adopted that one.
So do you think the process was easier for her because of her connection to you?
Yes.
Wow.
But still, because she had already started some of the classes before the adoption started.
All right. And then your second child that adopted?
My second child, all right, she was already married, and she had 3 children already. And her had to leave town at one time. And this other child, I had gotten him from the hospital. The doctor had even encouraged me that this child was going to give me a lot of trouble because he was he had a lot of health issues.
Okay.
But I was determined to change his life by making a difference in this little baby's life. And I had got him just from the hospital. So when he was about 2 years old, I needed to go to town for something. So I asked my daughter, that was my youngest daughter, and her husband to watch him for me. And she bonded with him, and she decided to adopt that one.
Sorry about that.
Commercial break.
And it ain't for nothing, so we had to get rid of him. That was a good article. Sorry about that. Okay. Wow. So and now, how long ago was that? I'm sorry.
The first child that my middle daughter adopted, she is married, and she has 2 birth children.
That's the one who adopted as a single parent.
Yes.
Okay. And then so how old is the adopted child?
He's 16 years old now.
Wow. And then so you said you didn't want to have you didn't want to bring a foster kid into
my home while I was
your
raising
home
my children
that were older than
mine. Yes.
Now, do you know if the 16-year-old has had a harder time adjusting to biological kids coming along after him?
He's the only boy.
Okay.
And not only that, my daughter married a man who had children already.
Oh, I see.
So therefore, their children blended very well together.
Now, T-Tam, can you pull up the photo of Miss Reed's family? Now, these are your biological children?
Yes.
Wow. We have Superwoman on the panel, and we're going to call you Wonder Woman. I'm going to tell you, your son looks exactly like you. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he really does.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay,
That's
so
beautiful.
then which one of the picture we're looking at,
All right.
which 2 adopted?
The daughter who has her hand on my husband,
Uh-huh.
that's my middle daughter.
Uh-huh.
She adopted the young man. He's 16 years old now.
Okay.
The daughter who has her hand on me, that's my youngest daughter. She adopted the young man who is 10 years old now.
And how long ago was that adoption?
She adopted him when he was 3.
Wow.
And he has cerebral palsy.
Oh, wow. He has cerebral palsy. What was if you don't mind sharing, the first child that adopted? You say you're always taking a special needs child. So
He was failure to thrive. He was a child who was a failure to thrive, and then he had a little mental disabilities.
Wow, that's amazing. So you have a great transition by talking about the first daughter that adopted. One of the other things, Smooth P has some information over there about single adoptions, and I want to hear you all's take on what you think of single parents.
Yeah, well, actually, I was
People wanna
asking about
adopt.
it earlier. It's basically, like you said, it's the same process between a dual parent household versus a single parent household. But I was reading a story of Michael Klinbeck's, and he was telling his story of how he was trying to adopt, and they was giving him a issue because even though he monetarily had the money to be able to take care of the child, just being a single parent caregiver, saying that basically he had to have the support system behind him, because he didn't have a mother. He didn't have somebody to be a mother. So speak a little bit about that, because I know it's probably easier, excuse me, as a single mother, but speak upon it as being a single father trying to adopt.
Oh, okay.
She's not a single dude.
Well, I know she's not, but I'm sure she knows about the trials and tribulations. Let me clear that up, first of all. I know that you are all woman, Miss Springland. That definitely.
Okay, I imagine that they would probably give him a hard time because for the simple fact that with him having to, was this a young child or baby?
He was looking. The child was he actually got the child. The child was he got 2 of them. One was 5 and one was 8 at the time. So he actually did get 2 children.
But usually, I never heard of them giving any single parent a hard time at adoption, to adopt the child. If they their home is stable, and after they do the background check and didn't find anything in his past where he might, not be capable of showing that child the love or whatever, because they do a whole home study, before they place a child in someone's home for emotional reason as well, because they do not want someone to try to take care of a child and then later on return the child back to them.
Right. You know what, and Ms. Reed, I wanted to chime in on this, and this is also from personal experience. It's something that I did not know until I went through it. At first, I would have been blind, not knowing the facts, probably might have had an issue with a single parent, but in reality, once you go through the process, that person that's trying to adapt, there's the meeting that they can call in everyone that's going to be involved in that child's immediate in the immediate family that's going to be involved in that child's life. So even with the situation that I'm going through, me as an uncle, I was called in on the meeting with DIFUS. They had a full family meeting with everyone that is going to be involved. So that to me does not hinder, because like I said, once the background comes through, if they're a single parent and financially they're able to, you still got uncles, you still got cousins, things of that nature. Whoever that person calls in that immediate circle counts just as much. Now, the question that I do have, as far as you know, I don't know if you know, and I didn't see any stats on it when we was looking it up. If someone has a bad record outside of you personally, does that affect the adaptive process? So, in other words, if I'm your son, let's say hypothetically, and you're getting children, but I have a bad record, not necessarily, maybe, I'm not saying nothing super foul like sexual abuse, but a criminal record. Okay. Let's say I was got a record for whatever it may be. Does that affect your process?
It only if that person lived in your house.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, so it does.
Now, I just want to chime in a little bit, because Tatum, you asked a question about, what do we feel about the single parent home versus the dual parent? And, the first thing I thought about when you said that was I thought about employment. I think, what's better, a minimum wage job or no job? So for me, I think, when it comes to a single parent versus double, I mean, if you have a loving parent, whether it's one or two, it shouldn't make a difference. But what I do wonder is now, and I don't know if we have anything about this, but I've heard a lot in the past years, and I haven't heard anything recently, about the homosexual and lesbian people trying to adopt. So I'm wondering where we are as a nation with that right now.
Well, before we go into that which is good. There was a statistic. What are the numbers of single adoptions right now?
Where at? I marked it.
I think it was a third of the adoptions.
A third, exactly. A third of them were singles. Yes,
that's
exactly.
Pretty big. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Really big.
Yeah. Now, okay, let's talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about gender. When it's same-sex couples, basically, that are adopting. Now, I'm going to go to Miss Verdi, because I'm sure you have a stand on this, coming from a foster parent, and then as well a minister. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Oh, wow.
Love the way I put you on the spot.
You sound like Robert on that one. Oh, wow.
I know. She's got a one-word answer for me, too.
Well, it's very important for every child in the system to be adopted. And I've always had my own feeling concerning whether a child should be adopted by a couple,
same-sex couple,
same-sex, and I would have ordinarily say no. At any rate, a child should not be placed in a home like that. But I know, to be perfectly honest, the adoption agency who foster these children, their one goal is to make sure a child is placed in a home. And because there are so few foster parents in the system, and they're yet having a hard time recruiting others and getting rid of some that they have already recruited, there's just not enough homes. So the children are placed in same-sex homes. And my thought about it is, I'm glad to see that the children are being cared for, but personally, no, I don't think that's such a good idea.
Okay, all right. Well, I have some myths here.
Some myths.
Myths.
I was about to say, let me get one.
I'm gonna be a myth buster tonight.
I thought you said mints.
Yeah, give him two.
I would have given you one at the start of the show.
I need like 4 or 5 of them, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Whatever.
All right, so these are some common myths about adoption. And the page I had up that started making noise was specific for black adoption, so I couldn't keep it up. I'm sad. But, okay, let's just go over some of the other ones. Myth number 1, there are no orphans in the United States. To me, I'm kind of like, duh. There are 107,000 children in the foster care system who are legally free and currently waiting for an adoptive home. And this is from a 2010 report.
Oh, no, what do you mean by legally free? I don't understand that.
Why would you ask me a question and it's now going to make it look like I didn't do my work?
I'm sorry. My bad.
I don't know the answer to that. Do you know what that means? Legally
free, that they have been, their parents' rights have.
Okay, I got you being separate. Okay.
Okay, myth number 2. It's easier and faster to adopt internationally, which is something I wanted to touch upon, than from U.S. foster care. That's a myth. In 2010, there were 53,000 children adopted through the U.S. foster care, while only 11,000 children were adopted by U.S. citizens from all international sources combined. In most cases, it takes roughly a year to adopt a child from the U.S. foster care system. The average time it took to complete an international adoption in 2010 was 1.5 years. In addition, most adoptions from U.S. foster care are free, and any minimal costs associated with them are often reimbursable. That's amazing that people are going out there and spending all of this money. Because the thing that's interesting to me is you said one of your first children, or may not have been the first, you got was 5 months old. Right?
Yes.
So there are kids going into the foster system that are babies.
Yeah.
And people could come and say, hey, these are the only ones I want. I'm interested in adopting from the foster care system, right?
Yes, because that was just one I got was 5 months old. But the majority of the kids who came through my home, because I was only taking care of medically fragile children, they was newborn. I went to the hospital and brought them home from the hospital.
Got it. Okay, here's another one. You have to have a lot of money and own a house to adopt from foster care. You don't need to own your home, be wealthy, have children already, or be a stay-at-home parent to adopt. Most adoptions from U.S. foster care, once again, are free, and any minimal costs associated with them are often reimbursable. Here's another myth. You can only adopt a child who is the same race and ethnicity as you. Most people at this point should know that is against the law to do something like that. All children in foster care have special needs and require special education. Many children in foster care are regular children who unfortunately had to be removed from their families due to abuse or neglect. The term special needs simply refers to children who qualify for adoption assistance due to specific factors or conditions such as being an older child, having a particular racial or ethnic background, being part of a sibling group needing to be placed together as one unit, medical conditions like what Ms. Ferdy does, and physical, mental, or emotional handicaps, also what Ms. Ferdy does. So let me read that again. Special needs simply refers to children who qualify for adoption assistance due to specific factors or conditions.
Yeah, that was very important there.
So does it bother you as much hearing that? What special needs really means now, knowing that, specific black kids are automatically labeled special needs? Does it bother you?
It bothers me that they have to label it.
Exactly.
They don't have to label
it. Just give them the money.
Exactly.
You ain't even got to label them.
Right. Exactly.
Just give me the money. Okay. Here's another myth. You're not allowed to adopt children you foster. While slightly more. Okay, so I gave a statistic that was a little older earlier in the show. Here's a more recent one. Of the 53,000 children in foster care adopted last year, 53% were adopted by their non-relative foster parents. Let me throw out a couple more here. You can't adopt a neighbor's child or one you know personally or professionally. Do I even need to read anymore? Only married couples with a stay-at-home parent can adopt children from foster care. And we already know that a third of the adoptions that happened, at least in 2010, went to single parents. The one thing I do want to ask, and then I want to touch upon very quickly, is an international thing. I'm surprised there's so many foster children when you have extended family.
Right.
Yes. Well, for a long time, the extended family did not receive any help when they took in their own relative in their home. So therefore, although diapers was placed on a child who was not a blood relative in my home, and they would pay me a certain amount of money to continue caring for that child. They did not do that with their extended family. They have changed in the last few years, and now they would now family members can apply to adopt their own family members.
Now I know a situation where 3 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
One brother has children. He is also in jail. Okay, so the one child, mother died while he was locked up. So the mother's sister received the kid, got guardianship, but the brother who's in jail, one of the brothers decided, I want to take care of him, and so they, everybody was amicable. Everybody agreed that he would then take on guardianship. What happens when the father, the biological father, gets out of jail? Does he automatically get his rights back?
No.
No.
No. One child I had when I got her when she was 8 months old, and although her mother still had rights to the child, and diapers would make arrangement so that the child could have visits with that mother.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, when the mother decided to give up her rights because she realized that she was unable to care for that particular child, the child could not be released or called legally free.
Legally free.
Until they contact the father. The father was in jail, and so the child just stayed in limbo all that time until the father was released from jail. Then it had to go to court to determine whether or not he was capable of caring for his child. So that particular child that I had, it was a slim chance that child could be removed from my home and given to the father.
Wow.
Because,
Interesting.
Wow.
Yes. So, but then the father wanted to take the child, so I think I must have went to court about 2 or 3 times, and the father set up visit to have his parents meet with the child because he wanted to remove the child from my home.
Wow.
And have his parent take that child. But what happened in that particular case, the father got back in trouble, went back to jail, and then the child stayed in limbo for another 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I think. Then finally the court took all rights from him.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, this has been an amazing show. I could have kept on talking about this for a good another 2 minutes. No, just joking. We could have talked about this for another hour or so with so many other things that I could have asked. But we want to take a moment and to give first of all, let's give a big ups to Robin, who unfortunately had to get off the phone. But we really, truly appreciate you chiming in. She had to charge her battery. I was trying to make her look good.
I thought she had to go solve a crime with Batman. Get it, Robin, Batman. Okay.
So anyway, thank you so much, Robin, for calling in. Please don't be a stranger. Feel free to come back and chime in. And then, of course, we could not have done this without the lovely Verdi Pringle Reed. Right. Give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Chill's going to once again read about your program, A Cherub's Arrow.
Yes, very quickly. Smile Bandage Ministries, Inc. presents A Cherub's Arrow. This is a drama play, A Cherub's Arrow, written by Miss Verdi Pringle Reed. It's a narrated production, and it's going to be in the Plainfield area at the Arista Care Nursing Home at 40 Norwood Avenue on March 4th at 2 p.m. And then at the Genesis Nursing Home at 1400 Woodland Avenue on March 25th at 2 p.m. Go see A Sheriff's Arrow. Once again, Smile Bandage Ministries, Inc. is a nonprofit organization functioning for the sole purpose of encouraging youth and seniors to develop relationships of love and trust towards one another while worshiping God together in the spirit of truth and mutual support. To bless this ministry financially, visit her at www.verdireed.com. That's VERTIE Reed.com.
And that's REID.
Yes, where you may purchase books from the author.
Please lay your hands and bless this.
That was my radio voice right there. Trying to get a read over job.
That was really good. Mm-hmm. And you only made a couple of mistakes.
Oh man,
you should get a job in radio, Chip.
Yeah.
So, Verdi, how did you feel about the show tonight? Did you warm up? Did you get rid of all of your nervousness?
I did. It was really good. I enjoyed myself.
She came in, guys, all bundled up. Didn't want to take her coat off. I was like, my goodness. I promise you we will not fight.
I don't know you people.
Before we go also, though, let people know where they can purchase your books.
Yes.
Okay. My books can be purchased at Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, and also at my website, www.birdiereed.com.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
I want to talk to you too because I want to write a book too. I really do. Seriously,
get your spell check ready.
He gonna write his book of chillers.
I really do. I want to get one.
I know it really is. To self-publish is amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned in. I'm gonna tell you, this show was so special to me. I think it's always important for us to remember here as hosts on this show what this thing here, this microphone means. Where it gives us an opportunity. It's a vessel for us to help to educate people. We did that tonight. We were entertained. Robin called in with her one-line answers. That was quite entertaining. And then we were moved that the poem, people sounded off in the chat about how lovely that poem was. It was very moving. Very but that's what we are here for each and every weekend. We here at 11 o'clock on Saturdays, live in the vocal booth, where we have a hot topic for you. And then we come back on Sundays starting at 10 o'clock. And what do we do at 10 o'clock, JD?
Rate and review,
where we feature a different artist who has had a recently released album or a project, and we have a great time sitting in Verdi, where we rate and review each track, and then our listeners get to sound off in the chat room and rate as well, and then we move into another topic for the night. But BKS1 is all about great programming. Each and every night that you tune in, you will get something different and special. On Monday nights, they have the FYI, what in the hell is going on news show. You didn't hear me say hell. On Tuesday nights, we have In the Game, which is the one and only sports show, and Chill here runs that ship. And then on Wednesdays, they have
Live in the Cypher. Wednesdays.
You ain't even allowed to say it. Just say Wednesday night for you. Just say
no,
Wednesday night.
No, because last week I just said y'all are haters. Y'all should let me do the intro. Y'all already put your hand down, Soups.
I had to do it for my sister.
And then on Thursday nights, we got so many shows. Soups, give us some shows on Thursday.
Well, Thursday night we started off at 6 p.m. with the Monique Danielle show.
Yes.
And then we ride into the Money in the Honey at 9 p.m.
That's your financial show.
Your financial show and life coach Terrence Legall and his wife Portia Legall. And then at 10:05 we have a prayer call where we are praying for the streets in Plainfield as well as throughout the nation, throughout the United States, particularly urban areas. And it's a nationwide movement where churches have come together to pray for each street, cover each street within their town.
Wonderful.
They pray for on a weekly basis. So we do that live on air Thursday nights from 10:05 to 10:15.
And then on Fridays.
Friday night.
The ladies of Ow. Only women wear high heels come together, and it's all about the ladies. It's all about the ladies. That show airs at 11 o'clock. Yes. And now, go for it.
And when
yes, relationship.
We have a new show coming.
That's right.
Called "Find a Way to Make a Way" with
HRJR. That's right.
And what night is that?
That is going to be on Friday nights. It's going to be starting March 9th, so you want to keep it locked. That's going to be an incredible show.
He has a mouthful to say. That man has. I love it.
He's
quite a mouthful to say.
Did we mention the Sadie show?
I was just about to say right before our show from 10 to 11, we have Let's Get It On with relationship coach Sadie, and
actually from 9 to 10.
I knew that 9 to 10. I said that. Y'all weren't listening properly. Get the wax out the ears from 9 to 10, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just repeat myself for those who didn't hear. Let's get it on with relationship coach Sadie. That lady has plenty to talk about.
Yes,
she really is on point.
And tomorrow we have an interesting topic, and we also, for everyone out there, that if you enjoy gospel music, there will be a tremendous gospel singer, Mr. Dale Ciceron.
And we're actually
CD and album.
We're rating Estelle tomorrow.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh no,
that's right.
Now, if you're just joining us, we need you to stay tuned because the one, the only, your best friend on the mic, Arturo. I got the worst.
What's your name?
Arturo. He is coming in
and he's
going to break it all down. Somebody needs to throw some out.
Anthony Hamilton's
Wait a minute.
doing.
Wait a
came
minute.
around the corner
Swag on that man.
Wait a minute.
He came around
Do me a favor.
Chill, you know I'm in the building.
Do me a favor. Arturo, just stand behind Miss Reed over there, please. This is smooth personified.
Swaggerlicious.
You better watch out, Miss Verdi. You might be pregnant before you finish walking past. Look at all that swag.
Look at that.
I didn't mean anything other than the swag. It's just
Look at him, smooth brother.
She's a married woman. You better let that woman go.
He ready to be adopted.
Her husband is outside. You better.
That's our man. Stay tuned. Put some selections in. Is Puddin' in there?
Puddin' was here earlier.
He was here. I hope he's okay. But at any rate, guys, we're so proud to say that here at BKS1 and live in the vocal booth, this show is never about us. It's always about you because
you is the best kept pudding. No, I'm joking.
You are the best kept secret.
Yes, you are. BKS1 Radio.
Keep it locked, y'all. Put your song request up in there. Tell your best friend on the mic is here.
That's
Late
gonna be my
night
response to
next
every
show.
Pudding.
What's your name?
Pudding.
How old are you? Pudding.
I'm just going. I'm going with this one. Soups.
Pudding.
All right, y'all. Put them up in there. Put them up.
Let's get it.
You say we play it. BKS1Radio.com.
Come on, draw it out a little longer. Oh, never mind.
Pudding.
Take away from you too long.